Right, well, welcome to the video lecture for pages 24 to 27, which focuses on how to tell time in Spanish. The first question we'll tackle is ¿Qué hora es?, which means what time is it? First, we will divide the answer into its two parts, the hour and the minute. Stating the hour is fairly simple since there are only two ways to start the sentence, son las and es la. As a reminder, the verb that we use for telling time is ser, and you can see it here in its present tense as son and es. So if the hour is 1, then we start by saying es la una. If the hour is any other than 1, we start by saying son las. So son las dos for its 2, son las cuatro for its 4, and so forth. For the minute, we can divide it into two sections, two ways to express it. One is if the minute hand is on the right side of the clock, or for minutes 1 to 30, and the other is if the minute hand is on the left side of the clock, or for minutes 31 to 59. And it'll be easier to understand this with examples here, so we'll go forward with that. So starting off, just to state that if it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and so forth, you can see here in this example, the clock's pointing at 1 o'clock, so we would start with es la and una, es la una. For 2 o'clock, we'd start with son las, and then 2 in Spanish, dos, son las dos. So in these two examples, you can see the minute hand is on the right hand of the side of the clock, or from minutes 1 to 30. So the way in which we would answer that is we would state the hour, add e, which means and in English, and then the minutes that it's pointing at. So in the first case, we have the clock point showing 4:05. So we would start by saying son las cuatro, it's 4, add e, and then cinco, since the minute hand is pointing at 5. So if you're shown this, and you're asked ¿Qué hora es?, you would answer son las 4:05. In this case, the clock is showing 11:20, so we would start by saying son las 11, since the minute hand is on the right side of the clock, or for minutes 1 to 30, we would add e, and then 20 in Spanish is 20, so we would say son las 11:20 to say it's 11:20. When the minute hand is on the quarters, you can either say quince or cuarto, which means quarter. In this example, it's 1:15, so you can either say es la 1:15, or you can say es la 1:15. And be careful differentiating between cuatro, which means 4, and cuarto, which means a quarter. They're two different words. When the minute hand is on the half hour, you can either say media, which means half, or treinta, which means 30. So in this case, the clock is showing 12:30, so we would say son las 12:30, or you can also say son las 12:30. So these are all examples where the minute hand is on the left side of the clock, or from minutes 31 to 59. So the way to express this is how we would do it in English, where this clock shows 7:40. You can also express that in English by saying it's 20 minutes till 8. And that's how you express it in Spanish. So what you do is you go to the next hour. In this case, the next hour would be 8, son las 8, add menos, which means minus, and then add however many minutes until that hour, until 8 in this case. So it's 20 minutes till 8 here, so we would say son las 8 menos 20. It's 8 minus 20 minutes. In this case, the clock is showing 2:45, so in English we could say quarter till 3. So we would go to the next hour, 3, son las 3, add menos, which is minus, and we could either say cuarto or quince, meaning it's 3 minus a quarter, or 3 minus 15 minutes. So son las 3 menos cuarto, or son las 3 menos quince. Finally, in this case, the clock is showing 12:45, so the next hour is 1. So in this case, we would start with es la 1 menos cuarto, or es la 1 menos quince, for it's 1 minus a quarter, or it's 1 minus 15 minutes. So in these cases, we worked so far in answering the question ¿Qué hora es? Or what time is it? And the way to start that is with es la or son las. And the other question with time that is covered in this book is at what time a certain event is at. So to do that in Spanish, we ask ¿A qué hora es? And then whatever that event is. So ¿A qué hora es la clase? ¿A qué hora es la fiesta? ¿A qué hora es el partido de fútbol? What time is the class, the party, the football game? No? And to answer, we would use, in the simplest form, es a, and then whatever the time is, or the event es a, whatever the time is. So for an example, if we want to know when this Spanish class is, we would ask, ¿A qué hora es la clase de español? So since the class is at 9:05, we could answer, La clase de español es a las 9:05. Spanish class is at 9:05. Or we could simply say, es a las 9:05. If the class were at 1:05, we would answer that by saying, La clase de español es a la 1:05. And if the class were at 12:46, we would say, La clase de español es a la 1:14. It's 1 minus 14 minutes. One last part the section covers is other time expressions. AM in Spanish is expressed with the phrase de la mañana, or of the morning, and we add this to the end of the time. So if we wanted to say it's known at 9:05 a.m., in Spanish we would say son las 9:05 de la mañana. PM is expressed by either adding de la tarde, of the afternoon, or de la noche, of the night. Generally, if it's dark out, you can say de la noche, so it's kind of up to you in that case. So if it were 2:50 p.m., we would say son las 3:10 de la tarde. And if we wanted to know at what time the party was at, and it were at 10:20, we would say la fiesta es a las 10:20 de la noche. A few other words, midnight. To express that, you say es la medianoche for it's midnight, or if an event is at midnight, es a la medianoche. And if you remember, noche is a feminine noun, and that is why we use la in these cases. For noon, we say mediodía, so if we want to say it's noon, we would say es el mediodía, or if an event is at noon, we would say es al mediodía. And just like de plus el results in del, a plus el results in al. So that's why we have al right here, because mediodía, el día is a masculine noun. So with the homework, here's the first one. All you have to do is answer what time is it is in its complete form. So you're answering the question, ¿Qué hora es? The first example, it's 3:40. So if you remember, you go to the next hour and subtract however minutes it is until that hour hits. In this case, since it's 3, we would have 4 menos 20 de la tarde. It's 4 minus 20 minutes in the afternoon. No? In this case, 6, son las 6 de la mañana. Pretty straightforward. Just remember the AM and PM aspect of it. For the next homework assignment, what you have to do is answer at what time this person's classes are at. So with the first one, ¿A qué hora es la clase de biología? At what time is this person's biology class? You can see here it's at 8:45 a.m. So you can either answer it like la clase de biología es a las 9:15, and de la mañana is optional, or you can say la clase de biología es a las 9:15 de la mañana is also optional. So whatever you feel more comfortable with answering, the system accepts all of them.